If O is the origin and Q is a variable point on x squared equals to 4y, find the locus of the midpoint of OQ. So let's try to set the problem first. So here we have the coordinate axis, we have the x-axis and the y-axis. They're meeting at the origin O with coordinates 0, 0. Fine. Now it's given here, we are given with an equation x squared equals to 4y. Actually, it's the equation of a parabola. And this parabola has its vertex at the origin and it's an upward facing parabola. So this is the equation of the parabola x squared equals to 4y. Now we're going to consider a variable point Q. So let's say this has a particular point Q. Having the coordinate, we're going to, let's suppose that the coordinate of this particular point Q be A, B. Now let's join point O and point Q. So once we join point O and Q, let's say we have a particular point, the midpoint. We're going to name this the midpoint as P with coordinate H, K. Fine. Our goal will be to find out the locus of that particular midpoint of OQ. That means locus of the point P. Let us begin. Now since P here is the midpoint of the line OQ, so what we can do, we can use the coordinates of the endpoints, that means coordinates of point O and point Q, to determine the coordinates of point P. So let's do that. So all we have to do for the x coordinate, we sum up the x coordinates of the endpoints so that we have a plus 0 and we're going to divide it by 2. To find out the y coordinates, we're going to add the endpoints of the y coordinates and divide it by 2. And coordinates of the midpoints of P, we have already defined it as to be having the coordinates h, k. So that means h, k becomes equivalent to a over 2, b over 2. Now if we equate the coordinates, then h will be equals to a over 2 and k will be equals to b over 2, which means that we can write a in terms of h as 2 times h and b in terms of k is 2 times k. We're going to keep it aside for the time being. Now coming to point Q. Now clearly Q is lying on the equation x squared equals to 4y. So we can say that point Q is going to satisfy the equation x squared equals to 4y. So that would only mean we could replace the value of x with a and the value of y with b. And this is going to give us, so we'll have a squared equals to 4 times b. Fine. However, we have already defined a squared and we have already defined the value of a and b in terms of h and k respectively. So what we can do, we can replace the value of a with 2h. So we have 2h whole squared and this will be equals to 4 times b. So b will be replaced with 2 times k. So that means we now have 4 times h squared equals to 8 times k, or simply h squared is equals to 2k. So finally what we'll do, we'll replace the value finally, because we want to obtain the locus of that point P. So what we'll do, we'll replace h with x and the value of k with y, and this is going to give us x squared equals to 2y. So this is the locus of the midpoint of the line OQ.